let's check in with Turning Point's White House correspondent Monica Paige at the White House. Monica, sounds like a busy day. Care to fill us in on all of the things going on? It sounds like a busy day at the White House, and yet I repeat myself. What's going on? What's your top story of the day?
Yep, busy day as always here at the White House. Well, as we know, President Trump signed a proclamation to increase the tariff rate on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50%. Now, this is all in efforts to kind of curb the competition and to kind of bolster our national security as it pertains to competition as well. Now, the key countries that are involved in this that will be seeing these increase in rates are China, Brazil, South Korea, Mexico, Canada, and also Russia. Russia also, in recent news, speaking of the country, Vladimir Putin spoke on the phone with President Trump this afternoon for about an hour and 15 minutes long, discussing the attacks on both sides. And President Trump took to Truth Social to say it was a good conversation, but not one of peace just yet. So, of course, it's not going to be of immediate peace, but Vladimir Putin also said that he feels that he needs to retaliate against the most recent strikes from Ukraine on Russian soil, on Russian land against those Russian drones. So we'll also see what comes out of that. And also, the two had a conversation regarding Iran and its nuclear capabilities, making sure that Iran never gets a hold of nuclear
Mm.
weapons. So, pretty hefty conversation this afternoon. But again, baby steps towards peace. We'll see if that happens. But still, those negotiating talks are on the table.
Yeah, speaking of stuff that's coming out of the White House, last White House administration, there was an identity hire, the first woman, black, lesbian immigrant to be the press secretary of the White House, and she was very, very bad at what she did. Her job was to lie to the American people, and she was very awful at doing it. Not that that's a good thing, regardless, but she's just bad at the job. But Karine Jean-Pierre is out with a new book. In order to promote that book, she's got a special announcement. Can you fill us in on what that is?
Well, for someone who never wanted to put herself in boxes, she's certainly putting
Mm.
herself in one by now coming out as an independent and all promoting her new book coming out October 21st. So be sure to check out your local bookstore and look for that one called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House. Now, it's interesting that she's calling this a broken White House, considering that she was one of the main players in breaking that White House and lying to the American people every day that the president was fit to serve and that he's sharp and he's with it, and his poor debate performance was because he had a cold and that he was jet lagged over and over and over again. So, pretty interesting timing because it seems like it's political theater. She really wants to sell her book. And if she's really wanting to be an independent, she should be kind of dismantling this administrative state rather than rebranding herself as somebody who has been a trade, who's been taken advantage of from the Democrat Party and someone who, has also been hoodwinked by the Democrat Party. It's not necessarily a good look for the press secretary, but nonetheless, kind of on brand considering what we dealt with over the last 4 years.
Yeah, and I don't really even want to promote the new book because I don't really want her to make money off of this. But at the same time, I'm fascinated about this because
Yeah.
if at any point during the book she says anything that looks like she have deliberately lied on behalf of the president to the American people, is that grounds for treason? Like, is she able to be tried for something like that? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Is there any? I mean, anything else at the on the in the press circuit that is kind of like rolling their eyes at this, or is it just conservative media generally?
I think this is taking both sides by storm. I mean, I've
Interesting.
overheard some conversations from the Democrat Party and some of the mainstream media members here who are kind of not shaken up per se, but are definitely following this and are definitely interested to see what she has to say. Of course, I'm
Yeah.
sure they're all going to be, bracing themselves for the big announcement in this book, if there even is one, because I'm sure they'll be on the chopping block too, if it is revealed that they were lying.
Yeah, I would also imagine a lot of them are going, "Oh geez, I hope she doesn't put me in there because I was lying too." Monica
Right.
Page, Turning Point's White House correspondent, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe Bob.